Hello. I'm going to speak to you about neurodiversity in advertising. This topic is one that hits close to home. I'm neurodiverse. I was diagnosed with ADHD, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, at 30 years old. I'm not alone in my late diagnosis, as it's estimated that 75% of adults who have ADHD have never been diagnosed. They may go through their entire lives believing that they are broken. As someone with inattentive ADHD, it's easily missed. Not the type of kid who is jumping off the walls, being highly talkative in class, or disruptive. I struggled with prioritization, focus, and impulse control, which meant that academics were a challenge. My teachers often cited my inability to perform with being lazy or disinterested. The truth is, I wasn't disinterested in everything. I was bored with most classes. When I was interested in something, business, economics, computers, I had no problem focusing. Therefore, it was not my ability to focus, but rather my ability to regulate my attention. Fast forward 4 years, and I find myself starting work in advertising. Working in an industry where difference and different ways of thinking is a superpower. It's estimated that the proportion of people who are neurodiverse across all creative industries is almost double that of the general public, where your divergent thinking allows you to generate new ideas, put together seemingly unrelated concepts. I found myself in an environment where I thrived. Neurodivergent celebrities such as Will Smith, Billie Eilish, Jim Carrey, Whoopi Goldberg have used their divergent thinking to thrive in industries such as film, art, and music. Will Smith, like me, was also diagnosed as an adult. Perhaps that infamous slap at the Oscars this year was the result of his inability to control his emotions. In business, Elon Musk and the late Steve Jobs used their divergent thinking brains to find unique solutions to problems, resulting in the most valuable companies in the world. Can you imagine what the world would be like without Apple? How much has the creative industry benefited from Steve Jobs' relentless desire to break the status quo? Elon Musk is on the way to make us an interplanetary species when some of the best and brightest minds at NASA were unable to do so themselves. Our world has benefited in numerous ways due to the divergent thinking these individuals have brought, and the countless others who are making meaningful shifts across all industries and sectors around the world. How can we define neurodiversity? Neurodiversity refers to the variations in cognitive functioning and is used to describe people who have conditions such as autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and dyspraxia. Judy Singer, an Australian sociologist who is on the autism spectrum, coined the term in the late 1990s. American journalist Harvey Bloom helped popularize it in 1998, saying, "Neurodiversity may be every bit as crucial for the human race as biodiversity is for life in general. Who can say what form of wiring will be best at any given moment?" Another way to consider this, perhaps, is the idea that there's one normal or healthy type of brain or mind, or one right style of neurocognitive functioning is a culturally constricted fiction, no more valid and no more conducive to a healthy society or to the overall well-being of humanity than the idea that there's one right or normal ethnicity, gender, or culture. The neurodiversity movement highlights unique strengths and the abilities of neurological differences and argues that they should be accepted and respected in the same way as other types of diversity are. Just as other forms of diversity, though, any discussion or approach to neurodiversity should be nuanced because the term encompasses a wide range of traits as well as much variance between each condition. Professor Stephen Shaw, who has autism and researches the condition, highlighted this when he said, "If you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism." Certain stereotypes, such as the common perception that everyone with autism is good at maths or resembles the savant protagonist in the film Rain Man, may hold many back from a deeper understanding of neurodiversity and how it can be best harnessed. This lack of understanding is a crucial blind spot for the ad industry. For one, many consumers it's trying to reach could be neurodivergent. An estimated 1 in 7, or nearly 15%, is neurodivergent in some way. Yet the likelihood of people with learning disabilities achieving paid employment in their lifetime is unfortunately only 6%. And some statistics from the Creative Differences Handbook, where employers within creative industries were asked about their approach to neurodiversity. And these were some of the results. 77% said adapting to a more neurodiversity-friendly environment is not a priority over the next 12 months. 75% do not have policies and procedures in place for neurodiversity. 82% do not have an approach to neurodiversity that is separate to their approach to disability. 17% know how many individuals are neurodiverse within their organizations. Yet, 96%, nearly all of them, believe and know the benefits to having a neurodiverse workspace. Yet, only one of those organizations that were surveyed have a formal strategy in place for hiring and retaining neurodiverse staff. The top 3 barriers that they indicated to setting up that strategy indicated 60% a lack of awareness and understanding, 71% lack of experienced managers, 55% because of time and other priorities. Yet, there are organizations that are hiring and nurturing neurodiverse talent. SAP, for example, which is one of the first organizations that implemented a program called Autism at Work in 2013, found a 90% retention rate of those neurodiverse individuals within the program, indicating, of course, that it works. But what about the advertising industry? What could we do to change this at the grassroots levels? An organization called Islands of Brilliance, which provides neurodivergent kids with the ability to develop skills in design, pairing them up with mentors across the advertising industry. Today, thousands of kids have enrolled in that program with mentors across the world. They are finding unique ways to leverage their strengths and hone their capabilities, developing themselves to be provided with opportunities once these kids reach the age of employment. An example of some of the work that these kids are doing in a video by Mark Fairbanks, who's one of the founders of the organization.
First one I'm going to show you, 8-year-old Aaron, his 3 things when he works on them, candy, SpongeBob, or a NASCAR, or sometimes all 3 together, all right? So he walks in an hour and 15 minutes, he cranks this out, from concept to Photoshop comp. I walked over at the end of the, I'm like, that looks like it should be an archive. I actually sent it to a creative director. I said, does this need a headline? And he said, no, it's perfect. But that, like, stuff like that happens. That's why the volunteers are just inspired and keep coming back. This next one here, the fashion cat, like put a Barney's New York logo on that and it's perfect. But the sense of humor and the attention to detail, the ball of yarn instead of the pocket square, their little fish that he photoshopped on the tie, it's like, regardless of the workshop, there's always stuff like this going on. It's like, how did that happen?
Why is this so important to us in the marketing industry? Younger generations are noticing representative advertising at the time of purchase. Future generations and growing populations of diverse communities are expecting more from us. Authentically inclusive marketing is a business imperative for organizations, and a 2022 Deloitte Trends report found that high-growth brands are establishing key performance metrics for diversity, equity, and inclusion objectives. So to conclude, it will be the creative industry who needs to adapt to the landscape to provide more opportunities for neurodivergent talent by implementing a neurodivergent strategy that will allow them to attract and retain creative talent, providing appropriate help and support to neurodivergent staff, and ensuring that the makeup of their teams are neurodivergent so that they can develop more relevant communication for future generations to come. Thank you.